Romans 6, we have 3 stages. In Romans 6 is our unconverted stage. In Romans 7 is the old covenant stage of our life. And Romans 8 is the new covenant stage. And I want to explain it very simply so that everybody understands. And I want to explain it like 3 marriages that we go through. We are the bride. You know, the Bible says we are the bride of Christ. So we are the woman. And we are married in 6, 7, and 8 to 3 different men. That's the picture here. It's an illustration, but I think it'll help you to understand what the Christian life is all about. What is the difference between being unconverted? What's the difference between old covenant and new covenant? Because some people, you know, they hear me speaking so often of the new covenant. So what's this? All in new covenant, new covenant? I'll explain to you today what it means. What does it mean? In Romans 6, you're married to the old man. Romans 6. And then you get baptized, and it says in Romans chapter 6, Romans chapter 6, verse 6. Baptism is a testimony. It's mentioned in verse 4. But verse 6 is, knowing this, that our old man was crucified with Christ, so that this body of sin might be done away with. So again, the emphasis is so that we'll no longer be slaves to sin, because if we have died, we are freed from sin. So before we were converted, Romans 6:6 is the conversion experience. Our old man is crucified with Christ. The old man is this desire to sin. It's different from the flesh. The flesh is the temptation to sin. The old man is the desire to sin, or to use another example, the old man is like a servant inside my heart. When the thieves, the robbers who are the lusts in the flesh come and say, hey, I want to come in and rob you of your purity. I want to rob you of your joy. I want to rob you of your peace. And the old man says, this servant says, come right in. Steal whatever you like. Take away my joy, take away my purity, take away my peace, whatever you want. Take away my love. Make me a hateful person. The old man is an unfaithful servant. And one day God killed it and put a new servant inside. Now the thieves are still alive. The thieves are not killed. That's why even after you're converted, you find that thieves, the lusts are still tempting you. But when they come and knock at your door, the new man says, no, I'm not going to let you in. The new man is the one who's the desire not to sin. So then the question comes, how does the believer sin? The believer sins because the new man is too lazy to eat and take exercise, and he's so weak that he tries to keep the door shut, but he can't keep it shut, and the lusts come in. That's how a believer sins. An unbeliever sins by the old man opening the door. So that's one illustration. But I'm using another illustration here. Jesus always spoke with illustrations. There was no prophet in the Old Testament that spoke with parables and word pictures like salt and light and keep your conscience like you keep your eyes. And I've understood so much through the parables and word pictures of Jesus that I decided in all my life in my preaching, I'm going to use word pictures and illustrations to illustrate the truth because it helped me so much. So here's the first marriage. Now forget the other illustration I used, that's not applicable here. The old man is the man I was married to before I was converted, and you are married to when you're unconverted, your unconverted state. And he's an evil man. He's an evil husband. He tells you to do wrong from morning till night. Get angry, hate, lust, commit all the sexual sins you can, live to make money, live to enjoy pleasure. Don't worry about God, everything will be okay. He's a wicked man. Keep a grudge against those persons. If you're jealous of somebody, you should be jealous. And don't take these sins seriously. The old man is evil through and through. And when you look at your unconverted days, and I look at my unconverted, we did so many wrong things. Because I was married to this old man. But then a day came in your life and mine when we got fed up. As we are approaching being born again. We're coming to the Lord, saying, Lord, I'm fed up of my sinful life. All the wretched things I've done that hurt you, I want to come to you. You do something for me, and the Lord kills my husband, and I'm free. This man who always made me do wrong, I had to be subject to him. He's dead now. The old man is dead. That marriage is over. And now I want to be married to Jesus Christ. I want to finish with this old man. And I see this wonderful man now, whom I want to get married to, because I finished with my first marriage. Now I want to come to the second marriage, Romans 7, where I see this wonderful man whose standards are so high, very high, upright man, who never does anything wrong, will never demand that anyone else should do wrong. Very high standards. And I say, boy, this is the one I want to marry. I think this is Jesus Christ. Okay, this must be Christ, because who else has such a perfect standard? So I marry him, and I discover that he never asked me to do anything wrong. Never. He never asked me to hate anybody. He never asked me to be jealous. He never asked me to lust or steal or tell lies or love money or anything. But he has very high standards. To use just one example of his high standard in one area. There are many areas, but here's one area. This new husband of mine says, I want breakfast every morning at 8 o'clock. Not 8:01, not 8:02. It must be 8 o'clock. You know the name of this husband? The law. The old covenant. I thought it was Christ, but it wasn't. It was the law. And many Christians make this mistake. They are born again, and instead of marrying Christ, they get married to the law, to a bunch of rules and regulations which makes them miserable. I went that way. I went that way for many, many years. Never being able to meet that standard. As I said, to use one example, breakfast at 8 o'clock. And here I'm struggling, and with great struggle I make breakfast by 11:30. And the law says, no, it must be 8 o'clock. And I struggle and struggle and struggle and fail. You know, just like a lot of people hear the commands of the New Testament and struggle and fail and struggle and fail. There are tremendous commands of the New Testament. Rejoice always, give thanks in everything, pray without ceasing, do all things without murmuring and grumbling. This is what I mean by breakfast at 8 o'clock. And here I am constantly failing. 11:30, I struggle. With great effort, I may manage 11:15. But it's nowhere near 8 o'clock. And what do? Get discouraged. But yet I know He's never asking me to do anything wrong. He's not asking me to hate anybody, or His standard is so high that I just can't make it. And then I say, Lord, I made a mistake here. I got rid of my old husband, but I married the wrong person. And now the sad thing is, this husband will never die like the other one, because the law of God is perfect. God will never kill it. What am I doing? Am I doomed for life to be married to this man, and this man will never die because God will never kill His law? I'm discouraged. Exactly like Christians who want to live a godly life but are not able to reach it, get discouraged. That's life under the old covenant. It was like that for me. Years and years and years and years. Falling, getting up, never able to reach that standard of 8 o'clock breakfast. I'm nowhere near it. So, this husband is never going to die. What is the solution? You know what God does? Listen to this wonderful way. I say, Lord, is there any hope for this situation? And God says, there is. He kills the wife. That's me. The marriage is broken again. And then, God is a God of resurrection, raises me up. My marriage to the law is broken. Thank God I'm finished with that guy. And then God says, this is Jesus. You made a mistake last time. And my old marriage is broken. Death breaks a marriage. I hope you know that. God killed me, broke that marriage, raised me up, and married me to Christ. That is the new covenant. Romans 7, verse 4. Please read it. You understand it much better now after you heard this illustration. Therefore, my brethren, you were made to die to the law. The law didn't die. You were made to die to the law. Why? So that you can be now married to another, Christ who was raised from the dead, that now we might have children through Jesus Christ, which is fruit for the glory of God. For the rest of your life, you'll understand Romans chapter 7, verse 4, because of what you heard today. Now, when I come to this new marriage, I'm still the lazy person. I can't make, the other thing, the law was not only breakfast at 8 o'clock. Let me say all the other things. When you wash my clothes, they must be spotlessly clean. That's the law. They must be ironed perfectly, not a wrinkle anywhere. The house must be spotlessly clean. Everything. Breakfast 8 o'clock is just one thing, and I could never manage it. Could never manage to keep the house clean, never manage to wash all the clothes perfectly. It was demanding, and yet he never asked me to do anything wrong. That was life under the law. And now, when I come to Christ, I discover that his standard is no less than the law. Exactly the same. Because God gave the law. What does he say? Breakfast at 8 o'clock. House must be spotlessly clean. Clothes must be perfectly washed. Ironed without a wrinkle on them. But there's a difference. He says to us, let's do it together. You and I. I'll help you to make breakfast at 8 o'clock. I'll help you to keep the house clean. I'll even help you to wash the clothes. I'll help you to iron the clothes. Wouldn't you ladies love to have a husband like that? Who wouldn't want a husband like that? The standard is high, but he's helping you in every single thing. That is new covenant. And I cooperate with Jesus, and with great effort, after about a year, I managed to make breakfast by 10:30. Still not 8 o'clock. And the Lord says, never mind. We keep going. We keep going. And I work with him. After a few years, it becomes 10 o'clock. Still not near his standard. I still haven't managed to wash the clothes perfectly or keep the house spotlessly clean or iron the clothes perfectly, but it's much better than it was as a progression. And after about 20 years, I managed to make breakfast by 9 o'clock. Wow! It's getting better and better and better. And I believe one day I'll be perfect like Christ wants me to be. But the wonderful thing is, he's helping me all along. Dear brothers and sisters, that is the new covenant message.